Young man, this is a true wake-up call. If I'm being honest, it has been hitting me for quite some time now. As I look around, I look at the generation of men now. We can't really rely on, you know, the men we're seeing on our day-to-day basis. No offense to, the good men out there, ready to, level up their legacy and all that, but it's just some couple of things I've noticed lately, according to my research and just according to what I see in the view of world. I'm disappointed in most of men lately. As young men in this generation, I don't think we can fully rely on them. Mom, I promise I'll make a change. They've did certain things and it'll really affect us in the long run. We can't really look up to men these days. We can't really look up to what we call fathers these days. Young men, it's a wake-up call. We have to do something different. There is no way we will end up looking like majority of men these days. Respectfully. Just respectfully. What I'm saying right now, it just comes from the bottom of my heart. We can't be, strong men, ready to level up the legacy while we're relying on alcohol just to feel complete. While relying on, smoking just to feel relaxed. Honestly speaking, I don't think that's a really strong and a confident man. Before I continue with the video, speaking about getting things happen and actually progressing, seeing things move and just doing what you want to do, I've created a guide for the family. This is a short book, but it has a very strong information. Check the link down in the description and just purchase yourself that book. It's so effective. Trust me when I say that. I've written that book night and night. I've invested my all in that book. So I believe and I know it will make a change to you too. So don't lose away this opportunity. I know you've been watching so much content, consuming on how I can get things done, but I just compiled all that information because I also did a lot of research. Some research is useful, but some is just useless. But I just piled it up simpler to make things easier for you. To not crack your head and get yourself confused. All the concepts you have ever wanted about being productive and making things happen are all in this book. Link in the description. Purchase yourself a book and start making things happen. Trust me, it will impact you. Young man, we have to do something different. I can't be in this path alone. I can't be the only one realizing that the men we're relying on are just a weak building. They're about to collapse. It's not happening. I've did multiple researches on, the man psychology, how men move, how men operate, and how men behave nowadays, and it's not really impressive. It's not what I really want to see in a long run actually happening. It's not healthy for the upcoming generation. We need to understand this. The young men now, don't be selfish. Don't think you're only doing this for yourself. You're also doing it for upcoming men. So the men that you see now, they didn't think about that back then, that we have to level up ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. They didn't think about it. They only thought about, instant gratification, relying on, toxic substances so they can feel complete, and it just turns out to be bad. I'm just speechless. I don't feel good what's actually happening. I'm not saying I'm here to solve the world. I'm not saying I'm, the perfect being, spreading light upon worlds. But with these kind of situations, I think there's a difference we can make. I think as young men, we can change our mindset, change how we view things. Because I can see a lot of young men are kind of propelling to a state I don't really like. They are kind of shifting a position where they'll become useless men at the end of the day. They're not focusing on purpose. They're not focusing on making their families good in the long run. They're not focusing on that. How do you call yourself a man? You're just a male organism. That's what you are. A man comes with a certain trait. That's what a man means. Comes with a certain trait. Don't call yourself a man because you just have a beard. Don't just call yourself a man because you have a boy feature, a male feature. You're not a man. We should act different. We should build ourselves up now, not later on. It's happening now. It's all now. Man, it's time. We need to see ourselves as a seed. The time that we're in now can be early 20s, mid 20s, it don't matter. But as young men, we need to see ourselves as a seed. At the point that you're in now, we're planting ourselves. We're planting ourselves under the soil. As the tea sprouts, that's what we're going to become later on. So do you think majority of men, it's what we really want to become? Taking toxic substances just to feel manly? Especially, what's really happening now. People just quote that as a man, if you don't smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol, you're weak or something. Do we really want that to really happen to us? Because the men nowadays are not really impressive like that. There's been cases upon cases upon cases of men doing certain things. It's because we are messed up mentally. We think we're men enough, but we are not. We scared or we feel insecure talking about these kind of topics that we need to be together. We need to build. Men are not people who mostly open their chest in society and talk about what they feel. And I understand that, I'm part of men. But there has to be a way on how we change it later on. Because it's just not sitting well with me, Y.A.D. It's not. As a young man out there, we need to make a difference. We need to make the upcoming, man proud of us. Because honestly speaking, as you see around, we're not really that proud of the men we see. The things they do. It's so disappointing. GBV is increasing, suicidal is increasing, bad habits are increasing. Because one of, the most effed up places, alcohol and all that, drug places, it's mostly men. What's going on? It's because we don't really speak about these concepts. Right, gang? We need to come together. As much as you're watching me off the screen, on the other side can be a different country. But why, gang? You need to connect with me. Let's use these kind of platforms to grow each other, to help each other level up, to teach each other, to, guide one another. It's actually time to do that. We don't really get much support because most men run away from their kids. Most men are not really responsible for their families, and it's happening day to day, literally. Every day it's actually happening, on a different household out there. It's happening increasingly. It keeps going on. Men are running away from their families. Men are becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. And I don't want to see that really happen. It's time we make a change. It's time we do something about it again. It's time we make sure the seed that you're planting is strong enough. Let's build our seed, our foundation strong enough from the first place. This is a true wake-up call for any young man out there. Stop, having this concept in mind that, probably later on I might be a great man starts now. The greatest version of you, it starts now. It won't happen if it didn't happen now. It's impossible. So, this is a challenge to all young men. Focus on building yourself up. There's nothing greater than that. Focus on building yourself up. Focus on what's really important. Start being a man and be responsible for yourself. And stop, having quick satisfaction, pleasuring yourself, satisfying the world. You end up losing yourself. It's time to make a change. Because my big brothers right now, my uncles, my dads, I'm not really proud of you, to be honest. I'm not really proud of you. Yes, shout out to, those who are focused. Shout out to those who are taking care of their families, leveling up their legacy, having a strong mindset, reading books, investing in projects, and making a change in their lives. But majority of them are not on the type of time. I'm not saying, everyone should be there. Some people are not there on a certain period of time. But if this video found you and if you connect with it, it's time to make a change. Don't just skip and keep procrastinating on leveling up yourself and building project and helping your family out and just leveling up on all spheres of life, financially, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. It's time to make a change. We've been running around bushes and it turns out to be a bad result after all. Because all young men you see out there, they've had dreams. All men you see now who have families, who are fathers, they had dreams back then, they had things to pursue, but none of them really executed. None of them really had that audacity to start doing something. Because I see the generation I'm in now. Young men are not serious. Young men are investing in such habits and they expect a miracle to happen later on in life, and it don't really happen like that. I did say, as young men, we need to see ourselves as a seed. We need to see ourselves as a seed getting planted under the soil and we watering it every day. That sprout, how the tree is gonna come out, is what you planted back then. So your outcomes of how you look like in the long run as a man, it's the seed you planted. So if as a man you didn't have goals back then, projects to focus on, building yourself up, your physique, mentality, financial state, all that, then you'll have outcomes. But let's start building now. Let's start making a change now. Focusing on healthy habits. I know it won't be perfect, but let's just shift more on that position of making things happen. I'm just saying, it's time to lock in as young men. It's time to make a change. The fathers lately are disappearing, leaving their families. Just men are doing more bad stuff every time. It's just gradually increasing because no one speaks about this. But I'm confident enough to tell you guys that it's time to make a change. It's either you do it now or you never do it. But the choice is yours.